Hey guys, it should be week 9, and good job, you knocked down another chapter, so chapter 2. We are getting closer to the second marking period, and pretty much this last project will conclude that. And we're going to spend about a week or so on it, as always, as you guys know. So if you remember chapter 1 and you did your project, then this should all be the same. The directions are pretty much the same, but I'll go over them again anyway. So today, basically you're going to watch this video that I'm making right now. We'll look at the directions, and that's what I'm going to do with you, but I'd like you to also, if you want to skim it or look at it yourself, that'd be great. And then you will have to submit something today. Let's take a look at it quick on Google Forms. And that will just be, your name, period, the topic that you picked based on our directions, which ones we have, then outline it. I'm going to give you an example of the outline then. So let's take a look at the directions. All right. So chapter 2, early inhabitants. All right, so through the last several weeks, we've explored PA's native history and early settlers. To further your knowledge on the content, please select one of the below topics to research and create a PowerPoint and or vidcast, or vodcast, sorry. And I put the vodcast, the and or part because I still have my kids in class that they're just doing a PowerPoint and then they're going to present in front of me. For you, you have to do the vodcast because you're not in front of me, so you have to do a video of yourself going over your content. Because I had some students ask me, well, can I do one or the other? I'm like, well, for you guys, it's this. For them, it's this. All right. Be creative. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You're always welcome to email me your drafts of any of your work. And that would be great. Even the sources that you use, like if you want to email me constantly, be like, hey, are these websites okay? Are these sources okay? That'd be awesome. I would like to think I'm pretty quick at getting back to you guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but just let me know. Some tips. Remember, in the start of the year materials, we'll go back to that quick just so you can see. One of the takeaways from this class isn't just like all the PA history stuff, but other skills. We haven't gotten into essays and writings, but one of the things we have been doing are PowerPoints. So remember, I do have this as a resource. You can check it out, The Science of Effective Presentations. It looks intimidating, but it's really not. It's actually a really quick read. It's easy to read. If I read it, then you can probably read it. So take a look at it. It just does go over some things like where you should place things, the colors, the sizes, the spacing between them. It's really not that bad at all. I would say 10 minutes to read. And I think it'll help you and it'll be a skill that you can take with you for all your other classes. So basically my summary of that is keep it simple, whether it's fonts, colors, backgrounds, images, keep it consistent. Use examples and explanations for your content. I think that's important because all too often kids just say something vague and we're not really sure what it means. So try to analyze and explain things, please. That's just some higher order thinking. Keep it 2 to 3 bullet points. Keep it concise. I don't want a list of like 15 things unless it truly is just like a list of like one word. Then that would make sense. But for some of your like the bulk of your content, probably 2 to 3 bullet points. Keep it simple. Just add another slide. If you're trying to put on 5 bullet points, just make it into 2 slides. That's all. Be mindful of spacing and sizes and so on and so on. Use images that are actually related to your content. But it's okay with funny ones here and there. A lot of you are very creative and you put goofy stuff, and you know what? It's actually funny. I find myself laughing at it. So that's all right too. Other than that, requirements for this one, your title slide with your topic as always, and you can look back on this after you pick your content, your body and your content. Maybe that's 4 slides, maybe it's 7, maybe it's 9. It all just depends, and I can work with you through your draft. Remember, at the very end, you do need a reflection slide and answer those 4 key questions. Give me the sources that you use, and then add a section at the end like, do you guys have any questions? Because undoubtedly in the comments I will comment questions, and hopefully your classmates do as well. At the very least, they can give feedback. And remember, when we are done, you will have to, let me get out of this, sorry guys. Remember, when we are done, you'll have to put a link to your video. You'll put down here like I did my project on Quakers, and then maybe the website's like www.screencastify.com/ whatever it is, right? You'll post it, and then your classmates will say like, "Hey, Mr. G, I liked your video on Quakers. Can you tell me some famous Quaker celebrities today," or something like that. Yeah, that's all. So we'll get into that later, so don't worry about it too much. I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit. So for this video, I'm going to look at the topics, and I'll go over an outline, and then that's a wrap. So some of the topics: native decimation, what happened. Most of it was disease. Clearly there was other wars between natives and natives, and natives and Europeans, and natives and Europeans. There was other natives and Europeans, but disease was one of the biggest killers. So could you kind of go over, smallpox being one of the biggest ones, but what were the other ones? Just, this is almost like a science type topic, so I want you to really go into details about that. This is a really big deal in world history and U.S. history and native history. So it's something little known, little talked about, the millions and millions of people that were here. Second one is migration theories. Remember, we just had Columbus Day. We had the debate on that. Do we even celebrate it? Was he even a moral guy by like any elementary school standards? Probably not. But what about all the other people that were here? From all different countries, all different cultures, even other Europeans that were here. Why did we pick that one 1400s? Why not all the other ones? So get into that. Tell me all the other ones. American exploration. Oh, sorry. That exactly what I just said for the other one, the migration. That was for American exploration. The migration theories. This one's slightly different than what I was going over. This one is just looking at people coming over the Bering Strait, following mammals and so on out of starvation, finally getting to Pennsylvania. But are there other theories about migration? The most prominent one is that we all came out of Africa, and that's probably correct. That's like mainstream, but we always like to look at other theories, and if there's other overlaps on the theories, like for instance, some people would say we come out of Europe, or Europe and Africa, or there were people in the Americas and they didn't migrate there. Can you give me some of the theories and let me know which one is the most prominent one, which you'll probably come up with this. And is there any overlap? Is there any ambiguity that maybe it's more complicated, that maybe they all work together? Let me know what you find. Let me know what you think. Number 4 is tribal warfare. So explain the fate of both Susquehannocks and the Erie. These were the two I was focusing on in Pennsylvania because they get wiped out. So tell me how that occurred and what their legacy was. Okay, you'll eventually get into the Paxton Boys and Conestoga and brutal stuff. You'll find it. You'll see it. King Philip's War, and you can even expand this onto the Peacock War, because they're both very interlinked. This is where 10 to 30% of the population died from war, and that's natives and the Europeans. So you have to think this is one of the worst wars in our history. And this is outside of PA. It'd be above it, New England area and so on. Connecticut eventually gets involved. So not too far away from Pennsylvania, but it is related to the topic we're talking about. It is related to even Thanksgiving, which is when the governor actually declared the first Thanksgiving after they get King Philip's head on a spike for 25 or 30 years as a warning to natives. But anyway, this is a brutal story, brutal war. Not even just brutal Europeans did stuff, brutal. See what the natives did to the Europeans and what they did to even their animals, their cattle, their cows. But it's less known, but it's one of the worst wars in our history. But why don't we know it? So go check it out if you want to do it on that. Ben Franklin on natives, huge admirer. He was our ambassador to their nation. So just take some notes on what he talked about, his journals, what he wrote about, the impacts to our own nation because of him and working with the natives. I think you'll find it very interesting. Allegheny Indian Reservation. So this is just right outside of PA, at our Pennsylvania's tip. And this would be the reservation. We did watch a video on one in the Dakotas, the Sioux, the Lakota tribe. So tell me more about the Allegheny Indian Reservation. That's just north of us. statistics. Are they doing better off? Is their life expectancy higher than 42 years old? How are their school dropout rates? How's unemployment, and so on. Natives and pop culture. Remember, for a portion of our lesson, I did just look at different perspectives throughout time and how the rhetoric changes on the Native Americans, whether friends or foes or savages, or they're nice but they're dopey, or this and that. Tell me how and where they've been depicted in certain ways throughout history. So it should be super interesting for you, I think. 9 is bartering. I have a couple students doing this one in class. It's very interesting because this is how they would trade, right? It's just trading. But we still do this today. There's still websites today. You can argue, Airbnb, Craigslist. You get those people that start off with like a pencil eraser and then they turn it into a mansion. Do you ever see those stories? Like all the time, there's always trading websites. So just basically give me an overview of what the natives would do, what they would trade, and with whom, and then how we kind of still barter today, and just give me some interesting stories like the one I just gave you. You also have native religion, so you can dive deeper than we have just on the Iroquois and Algonquin, what they're believed, and you can even tie it into Christianity. How's it similar, how's it different? Because you'll find a lot of parallels. Furthermore, native myths and folklore. Remember, we got into a bunch of weird ones. I think it's totally appropriate for Halloween. You had the Wendigo, you had those flying heads, you had the water panthers, and there's even more. So a bunch of weird, interesting stuff that you're going to find. You also have Swedish myths and folklore. They are always finding stuff in Pennsylvania that are tied to this. Same thing with the Dutch. They found basically the Dutch people in Pennsylvania when they're setting up. Remember, they were in Swannendale. They had like New Netherlands, and they moved down into the Philadelphia area. But they found a house that they would like put animals in the wall, and it was like a safety spell. And people basically like were renovating their house, and they found these like from 1600s. So it's very interesting. You're gonna find some weird stuff. Again, all these, it's definitely appropriate for Halloween. So super cool. Tell me what you find about the people that were here first and some of the wacky things they did. For our Halloween time, I mean, you just give kids food that's bad for them and whip it at them while you drive by for parades, and you make them traumatized by having them sing songs to you before you give them candy. Like, that's weird. So you do your own wacky things. Might not be like animals in the wall wacky, but you do your own wacky traditions today. All right, 14, English and Irish myths. Again, it's pretty much the same directions with all of these, so take a look at it. And then Quakers. So tell me in depth, like, what do the Quakers believe? When were they started? Why were they started? How's it different than Christianity? Has it adapted at all and progressed? Have they impacted our society, our government? Can you tell me about like historic Quakers back then? Can you tell me about historic Quakers today, and so on? And then last, if there's anything I didn't cover and like you want to, like, I just want to do it on this. I want to do it on just William Penn. I want to do it on just George Fox. I want to do it on Johann Prince or something. Like, that's fine. Just reach out to me, email me, and we can work that out. If you take a look at the week, I wasn't going to post a video for directions each week, but just basically, for a little less than an hour, do your research each day. Research, and then by Friday, you should start to put together your PowerPoint. You can send it and share it with me, and I can comment back and be like, hey, I think you should change this, or can you add this? Can you do a little bit more research? Or, these colors are all wacky. Can you change it? So by Thursday and Friday, if you want to share it with me, that'd be awesome. Monday and Tuesday, I want you to finalize it, fix it, make it bulletproof, make it beautiful, and then record your video as I'm recording now. You can use Screencast-O-Matic or Screencastify. Email me if you need more specific directions. I've posted them before. I believe it's very self-explanatory, but if you need extra help, that's fine. We can do it. Other than that, when you are done on Monday and Tuesday, you'll comment your video, and we'll watch it. We'll comment back on yours. Remember, the only other guideline is that you have to watch somebody's and comment on it. So that's all I have, guys. Thank you. Sorry I took 15 minutes for the directions. See ya. Have a good time.